So
Mm.
yeah. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. I'm Sean Williams, aka Mr. President, and welcome to the Safe Room, a safe space for entrepreneurs, business owners, creatives here in Toronto to share their personal and professional stories. And today I have a very special guest, long overdue. I know we've been trying to plan this conversation for a while, so I feel like I need to do my due diligence in giving a proper intro, but not just a proper intro, a double intro. So just bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. She is the founder of Cofellow, a social media marketing agency designed to support creatives in spending less time online and more time doing what they love. First of all, just round of applause for that statement. I love that so much. That is like what we need to embody every single day. Let's just go a little bit more into detail on that. So, through strategic development, mentorship, full service social media management, Co-Fellow helps creative entrepreneurs turn their stories into compelling, aligned brand messaging. The words are hidden, ladies and gentlemen. But listen, I know I said one intro, but again, we're doing the double intro. Not only she's the founder of Cofellow, she's also the host of the Procrastination Station, which is a podcast dedicated to exploring sustainable creativity and the unique challenges of multi-passion entrepreneurship. Basically, she's a double threat. And we love to have double threats here on this show. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we have Miss Hannah Perry. Hannah, how are you doing?
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for that introduction. I love the enthusiasm and it's just a little taste of this conversation. Thank you so much for that. I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It was a cold day. I will say that it was cold and it continues to be cold. I don't know why. We're in May. I feel like we should be past like single digit weather, but I digress.
I know, and you are right. It has been far too long waiting to get on the show together. I think it's been like almost 2 years, hasn't it? Or at
Yeah,
least
yeah.
1 year. It could have been closer to. It's
It, it
just,
was
but
it was around that point.
we're both busy, and I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to get started.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's better late than never, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, like I mentioned, we're going to talk about a lot. There's going to be a lot we're going to cover. We're going to talk about Co-Fellow. We're going to talk about your podcast. We're going to talk about your social media agency as a whole. We're going to for the weirdos. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. We're here to express it in a great way. Again, this is a safe room, it's a safe space, but this is for the weirdos in terms of like creativity, how you may think. Listen, certified weirdo here. Like my ideas sometimes are just very sporadic, unorthodox. So we're here to celebrate that. We're here to help you guys through this conversation. So I hope you guys got your pens, your notepads out because a lot of gems are about to be dropped in this conversation.
For real, for real.
Okay, but before we get into all the main questions, Hannah, we have to start off with our opening segment, the hot seats. Again, it's nothing too crazy. Don't panic. It's nothing insane. I'm just gonna ask you 4 questions, and I want you to answer them to your best abilities. Okay?
Beauty, hit me.
Okay, perfect. So, question number one. So, outside the work that you do, tell me something about yourself in one sentence.
Just anything about myself?
It could be
Well,
anything. Yeah.
people don't believe me when I say this, but I consider myself to be an introvert. I'm a bit of an extroverted introvert, but my heart is always an introvert. I like to be alone. I like quiet. I like reflection and introspection. And when I need to and when I want to, I'm able and willing, more than willing, to turn on a extroverted side of myself. But it is absolutely unnatural. And I have worked and worked and worked to build the confidence to be able to bring that side of myself out. It is not natural to me at all. And I'm very proud of that quality that sometimes people say, no way, you're definitely an extrovert. And like, no, you don't see beneath the surface here. But yeah, that's one thing I could share.
Okay, that's very interesting because you know what? I feel like that's a very common thing a lot of people say, especially if you're an entrepreneur. Some people say, oh, I'm actually very quiet, but when I need to be very like vocal and active in certain spaces, then eventually, I'll bring out that more energetic side of me. So I definitely resonate. Even sometimes for me, like I don't like to just speak to everyone all the time. I like to be in my own personal bubble, my own personal space, and just kind of like chill. But if I need to turn it on, then I can easily turn it on. So I definitely resonate with that. But it's so funny how you said that when it comes to like, you know, people don't know how you do it. And even for yourself, saying just it's something that's like unnatural. It's very funny because like the next question I have is like it's kind of like a two-parter. It kind of connects in a way. Yes, and just like in the comment section, Chanel saying, I agree, I'm very quiet. Yes, I know. Listen, if anyone knows, I know Chanel. Trust me. No, it's all love. That's just my sister, just you know, doing her thing. Put it in the comments. Appreciate you. But I digress. I digress. It's funny because it goes into my next question here. I want you to name an event or any function you went out to that
Mm.
you weren't personally prepared for. So it could even be the matter of just like you went and you didn't expect to see so much people, or maybe you thought, I'm just
Mhm.
gonna go there and just be on more on the low key side of things, but then afterwards you were like networking the entire event from start to finish. Like, what was the last event or function you went to that you were not prepared for?
You know what? This question, it's gonna take us deep right off the bat. So let me get into this right now. So when I first started my business, I was 22. I was just a baby, and I was like going to as many events as I possibly could, just networking, shaking hands, kissing babies, the whole 9 yards. And I was told by somebody that I trusted that I was invited to a networking event. And I was under the impression it was a networking event, but it was actually like a buy my core self-development-y type of thing. And so normally when I go to events such as that, I'm a lot more skeptical of what are you selling me? What messages are you trying to get me to take away from this? But in this moment, because I thought it was a networking event, I did not have the same skepticism. I was a lot more open-minded. And the way that they phrased certain things, it it made things click in my brain where I actually had, like, repressed memories from childhood. I won't go into detail of what those memories were, but just, like, really dark things that had bubbled up that I hadn't let myself completely forget. I completely forgot that things had happened, and in this event, I broke down, crying my eyes out in front of, like, 500 people, and it was a huge turning point for me in my life to really understand why I might do things a certain way, why I am a certain way, and just really it honestly was a catalyst to spark healing for me, and I think that it was like it was a place where I didn't know that I needed to be in this room, but after leaving that room, after going through all of the things that was a result of that, I needed to be in that room. It was a catalyst to a lot of really beautiful and wonderful things in my life that was all born from a very dark, painful place, and I don't know if that was the answer you were expecting from that question, but that was it was a really big moment for me.
Yeah, sorry, Hannah. You kind of cut off a little bit on my end. Could you just repeat that last part?
Yes, I last thing I just said there was I'm not sure if that was the answer you were expecting from that question,
Oh,
but it was just a really big moment for me, and I don't regret a thing, even though it was also very, very hard.
yeah, and I do appreciate you for sharing that story, just being very open and vulnerable. Again, we want people to just have the safe space to just say what they need to say, be authentic. But I love how through that journey and through that moment, you found something in you to like, okay, even though it was like something that I had to go through a lot at the time being, you were able to grow from that, which is really good. Cause I
Mm,
know for some people, they may take some extra time off just to figure
yeah.
out, go through the emotions that
Shut
it
down.
happens. Yeah, they
Mm,
shut down. And I know that happens to some people, maybe to some people a lot. It could happen to them a
mhm,
lot. And it kind of ties in maybe a little bit into like, what we're going to talk about a bit a little bit about procrastination, how we delay and delay. And sometimes our delays can be a cause of something that happened to us. Maybe we
Mhm.
ran into an obstacle and now it's just we're afraid to confront it again because we don't want to fail or we don't want to go through that same bump or that same hiccup. So I definitely feel just hearing that story. I was like, wow, like I can see how much you were very courageous to overcome that. So I love that.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And for the record, I did have my own share of shutdown moments, but I think the most important part is it doesn't matter how you fall, how many times you fall, how far you fall, as long as you can pick yourself up after and find a support system that you can lean on. And finding forgiveness for yourself, forgiveness for others, all of these things are just such important lessons that they're not innate within anybody. We all have to really dig deep and find these things that are important to us as people. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Okay, let's go on to the next question. I want you to share or give me an interesting fact that you rarely share about yourself.
Hmm. An interesting fact. Well, in my not online life, an interesting fact that I rarely share with others is actually that I have a podcast. And when it comes to my podcast, my online life, a fact that I rarely share is that I'm actually a huge science nerd. I love biology, animal biology, human biology, like physics, anything that has to do with just the way that things work. Um, yeah, those would be my personal facts.
Okay, that's interesting. Do you feel like because of your love for science, it's kind of incorporated into the work that you do today a bit?
Absolutely, absolutely. I like to think of myself as like my brain is a little bit of like a mad scientist, and then my heart is just like an advocate for people. I love, as you mentioned, I love weirdos. I love stories that are just interesting, and my brain just loves to pick them apart and then rebuild them. And like it's almost like a science experiment of going into something blind and just seeing where the data can take us in terms of our results and what we can do then to change those results to make the result that we want come true and what we need to do in order to get that positive result. Yeah, it absolutely is related.
That's beautiful. And I think that's a fantastic analogy to just, the work that you do at Cofellow, looking at different results or different strategies that can be implemented for creatives to get the achieved results for that person. Maybe they're looking to get more traction on certain platforms. You can find ways to do that, or even just implement a new strategy of how they post content or how they interact with their audiences. So I think even your explanation of just how your brain works, how your heart works, and how you dissect certain situations can be very applicable to a lot of creatives maybe coming to you asking for your expertise, how you can help them achieve whatever goals and expectations they're looking for.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, guys, I told you the gems are being dropped. I'm telling you, like, listen. By the end of this conversation, the notepad needs to be full. Okay, the class is in session. You were late 5 minutes ago. It's okay. You can still pick up and get your notes down. But let's go on to the final question for this hot seat segment. So, Hannah, I wanted to ask you, what is your personal safe room? So, what is a safe space? It could be physical.
I lost you there for a second, but I listened to your show and I know your question. What is my safe room? What is my safe room, either physical, mental, emotional, whatever it is? My safe room would be honestly, a lot of it is mental. I have this cabin in my mind that I go to where it's okay, so my family's Newfie. For anybody listening that might not be Canadian or maybe you're new to Canada, Newfie means you're from Newfoundland. That's a province. It's an island. It's as far east as you can get, and I've heard people describe them as right feral Irish pirates. They're a really fun bunch. So my safe room would be this cabin in my mind in Newfoundland among people who are like the people I grew up around, and I'm kind of like in this cabin, I'm kind of like the town witch, where I just make like potions and paint rocks and sell them to the townspeople, and I'm by the ocean and friends with the animals. And um I whenever I'm in a place where I might be a little stressed, or like if you're doing an MRI or something like that, like you have to have this place in your mind that you can go where you feel safe. I love the idea of a physical safe room. For me, that would be like fuzzy pajamas or anything that's just soft and comforting, or like a hot cup of coffee. I think those are great too, but you don't always have access to things that bring you physical comfort from an external lens. And I just really love to encourage everybody I speak to, and I was honestly inspired by you asking this question, like what is the emotional and mental place that you can go that brings you safety? Because it is such a powerful question regardless of what somebody might answer it as. I think it's just it's so powerful, it's so beautiful. I think that everybody should have something that brings them that peace, that safety. And I appreciate you for asking that, and I appreciate you for inspiring me to really dive into that and develop my own safe room, and also get curious with other people's safe rooms as well. Obviously, I use my own vernacular with that, but I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And I even love like your answer as well. It's like very unique and very original. You know, you kind of broke it down into different pieces. And yeah, I try to ask this question because I think for a lot of us, like you mentioned, we may have a physical space, but it might be hard to get access to that through an external lens. So having something that's like a mental space could also be very helpful and effective for you. So I think I just want to get people to share that openly, because sometimes we may say it to ourselves, or maybe we never even think about it. Then when someone
Mhm.
actually pops the question, it's like, oh shoot, like I didn't think about it like that. Okay, Sean, like you got me, you got me. So I definitely want to just continue that trend of just asking people what's their personal safe room. Hopefully it's a reminder to them that you can always go to that when things are, things are down, or even when things are good. It doesn't always have to be like you're in
Mhm.
a down situation or things are going rough. It can always be a positive light, and you want to like celebrate in your own personal safe space.
And it should be. It should be a positive space. Like in a physical world, like not in my mental space, like I find whenever I'm doing art or like crocheting, painting, like anything like that, that is also a safe room that helps me explore the mental side as well. And it brings me just so much peace. And I find that when I'm not doing my creative outlets outside of business, outside of work, like I'm just so grumpy. And I find that the more creative I allow myself to be and the more safe I allow myself to be, the more that it's like a cycle where that creativity comes more strongly, and the safety is a lot easier to access than if you just don't do it. Then it's like it takes a lot of work to spark that creativity, to spark that safety. Um, yeah, it's important to think about, and I want everybody on the planet to not only listen to the safe room, but also think about what that means to them.
Man, I appreciate it. I appreciate the kind words too. Usually people are just kind of like they give the answer like, okay, move on. But I appreciate you wanting to get people to listen to the safe from that. That's such a nice sentiment right there. Thank you, Hannah.
My pleasure. I got to give you your flowers too. You did such a great intro for me that I got to make sure you get yours as well. So
I appreciate it. Well, yeah, those are all the questions here for the hot seat. You did a great job. But before we move on, again, if you guys are just coming in right now, you're listening to the Safe Room here on Love Bay Radio. We're here with Hannah, the founder of Cofellow and also the host of the Procrastination Station. We're going to get all into the details about your social media agency, Hannah. But before we get into that, too, I do want to share one announcement. I shared this last week, so I'm going to continue to share it until we get closer to the date. I will be hosting the Voice of the Millennials event on July 12th. While I'll be co-hosting, it will be myself and Kemi Famous. So again, make sure you guys stay tuned for details on when everything's going to be dropping. I'm super excited. I'm honored to be hosting this event for Love Bay Radio. I believe I went last year. I had a fantastic time. Excited for that. So again, guys, definitely remember the date, July 12th, the Voice of the Millennials event you don't want to miss it. Especially if I'm hosting it, you definitely sure don't want to miss it because I bring the energy. If you've seen any of these conversations, you know I bring the energy. It's going to be 10 times more in person. So make sure you guys remember the date, July 12th. But let's get back into the question. So, Hannah, Cofellow. Now, listen, I remember. Let's go. Let's paint a little bit of a backstory. So we met back at Bits Business in the Street. Shout out to Business in the Street. About Co-Fellow, how it all got started, and I've seen you work so hard behind the scenes, and I wanted to bring that to the show eventually. Again, it was all about time and finding the right time. So I'm glad that we're meeting today. So, like I mentioned in the intro, you have created Co-Fellow to turn stories into like aligned brand messaging, like into strategy. So why do you focus particularly on capturing a niche audience for like clients that will like again embrace more that weird side of the business? Because I know for a lot of people when they have a business, obviously they have their own demographics, they have their own approach, but I
Mhm.
think the way you define it's like I'm looking for the weirdos. Like where the weirdos at? Like I need to holler at them. So like, I found that very interesting. So like, what was the just the thought process? Like, I want to target them and I want to bring my expertise and my assistance to help them flourish in the work that they were doing.
Yeah, it's a great question. So first of all, I myself am definitely a bit of a weirdo, and I wear that label with pride. Um, because I think first of all, every entrepreneur, they they tend to be a little bit of a weirdo too. Like if you look at weirdo story or if you look at entrepreneur stories, maybe they dropped out of college, maybe they, got fired from their job, maybe they found themselves in a position where they were extremely broke and couldn't afford groceries or bills, and that's not normal. It's not a bad thing, but it's not normal either. So I find that a lot of the time entrepreneurs can be just their own flavor of unique, and I love that about them, and I think that's something that needs to be celebrated. I think that a lot of the time in business people almost want to sanitize themselves in a way that's palatable for the masses, and to a degree I think that it is important to have a message that's understood by somebody who doesn't know anything about what you're doing. You have to be understood by somebody who has no passion towards what you do yet, and you have to be able to articulate your passions in a way that can get somebody else excited about what you're doing. And so what I find about entrepreneurs, and specifically the weirdo entrepreneurs that I like to go after, is they are such highly passionate and highly skilled people that it can be very challenging for them to take this big idea in their brain and bring it down to earth in a way that actually makes sense. And so, me being a weirdo, coming from a place where growing up I often felt misunderstood, I often felt like people wanted to put me in a box, and I want a marketing agency that doesn't make people feel that way. I want people to be able to feel like they can be their true 100% authentic self while also prioritizing messaging in a way that just makes sense. And so sometimes that means switching from creator mode, switching from passionate person mode into salesperson mode. And that doesn't mean that we just completely sunset the passion and sunset the creativity. I think that's still something that can speak to a lot of people, but it does mean finding a way to just articulate the message. It's almost like a different side of your brain that you're speaking from. And that's where I help. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, definitely 100%. I think one of the most telling things that you mentioned at the beginning was how your definition of weirdo is like someone who might be going through just everyday struggles, like whether it's like having enough money to pay for bills, or maybe they're unemployed, or like they're just going through a rough patch. Like it's very common and so relatable because I know for lots of us, and maybe including myself, like we've gone through those ups and downs in life where you just don't know what's gonna happen. And next thing you know, you're broke, or next thing you know, you're not working. Next thing you know, you have your dream job, but then you get fired and you just don't understand
Mhm.
why. And maybe in the back of all of that, you have this amazing idea that you want to get off the ground and launch, but you're just trying to play it safe, like you mentioned. We're now saying, well, if everyone else on social media is doing this, then I might as well do and follow the trend, because if that's getting results, then I might as well do that. But then are you compromising that authenticity and creativity to now just fit within the mold? And it's a very scary situation, because some people are okay with that. They're like, well, I don't care. Like, if I'm superficial, that's cool. And some people even build their images with, and I don't want to like judge, because I don't want to generalize. Listen, I watch creators that I can read through them and say, okay, it's an act, but it
Yeah.
works, and that's their strategy. But then there's others where it's like, man, like you could just read. Feel like for you wanting to create a space where you want to bring those people to not only realize what they're doing and
Mm,
embrace that weird side, but also give them that level of like commercial success where it's like, okay, you can be creative, but you can still reach those like KPIs, those goals, or whatever you need to
yeah.
reach as well. You don't have to just be weird and creative, but then it's like no one's viewing your stuff. It's like, no, like we
Yeah.
can have the best of both worlds, but it's about
Yeah.
staying true to yourself.
Mm, yeah. Like, it's like staying true to yourself in a strategic way, where finding outlets where that your own version of a mad scientist or your own passionate creative can really have an outlet to shine and to explore, and then also having this business person, because if you're in a business to make money, who can put on the professional face. And like, I'm not saying you have to wear like a fancy suit and look exactly like what the stereotypical business person looks like, um but just finding a way to do that in your own way, like the same goal, that or same intention, but in your own lens. I just Yeah, I like studying business. I like studying successful people. No shade on anybody who wants a superficial business either. Like, I'm with you that sometimes, like, having that mask that you wear for society, it's very safe, and that's okay. We love being safe here. Um However, my goal is to really develop communities that have a bit of soul, a little bit of just spark to them. It really lights my own soul on fire. So, yeah.
I love that. I absolutely love that. So that kind of goes into my next question. So, like, particularly, what do you do to help your clients with that presence online and with the social media marketing aspect? Because we did have someone a couple weeks back on the show, Denny Diosa, and she talked about, how the work that she does, particularly, she's someone who's not so fond of like social media. She's not someone who's as active, and she tries to stay away herself, but she understands that if there's people who are looking to, utilize social media as a tool, then that's what they'll
Mhm.
do. And I believe, leading to this conversation, you're in that same boat where, like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not a social media person myself, but again, I want to utilize the social media aspect to their best advantages. And for Denny, when we had her on the show, she had a very unique approach. There was like three different steps. There was like the traditional approach, a more holistic approach, a hybrid. So I just want to know, like, what do you do specifically to target those pain points with your clients, so that way they're getting the best satisfaction of what you can provide?
Yeah, I love that. I think, first of all, just to mention the whole, like, having somebody else on the show that does social media, like, there's so many people who do social media for real. Like, where if toss a rock into a lake, you'll hit one of us. And what I think about that is there's also so many people who really do need that service. And um having different types of people and different types of competition does nothing but benefit the client by having the freedom of choice. Um so, like, your previous guest, I'm sure she's absolutely wonderful at what she does with the people that she does it with, and same. And I think that's the beauty of this industry, is having that diversity. In terms of how I actually help my clients, I I like to offer strategies and implementation of frameworks that can help to set intention with content. So I can actually give you those strategies right now. So the main thing that I balance between would be either a growth strategy. So, how do we just get eyes on us? We're not selling, we're just getting eyes. A nurturing strategy. So, now that we have these eyes on us, how can we nurture them in a way that can actually get them excited about what we're talking about and get them to a point where like they're proud to be part of a community, not just following a page because you thought something looked cool, but actually engaging with those products or with that business or business owner. And then the final thing would be selling. And now the selling side of things, it's actually the smallest category. I don't know about you, but when I'm on social media, I seldom, if ever, want to be sold to. And when I am sold to, I'm scrolling away. And I really think that social media is almost like a necessary evil for brands. Especially we learned from Mr. Schmovid in 2020, like the world can change in a snap of a finger, and we need to be able to adapt, and we need to have different avenues where we can make money with businesses. And so, like, being on social media with your brand is something that I think is very wise, and it's very also challenging. So having these frameworks in place to be able to not only have intention with what you're posting, but also be able to identify problems. Let's say, for example, you have a lot of followers, maybe you have 100,000 followers, good for you, but you get like 3 likes on your posts. That tells me that you probably, first of all, have a lot of bots. So, how can we go through and like get rid of those bots, because the algorithm is telling people, is being told that people don't want to engage with your stuff. And after we do that, how do we actually get people to engage with your stuff? So maybe that's just posting things that are more interesting and not being so like sanitized and boring. Or maybe that's just like actually just asking questions and like posting things that people are responding to, posting things that people want to hear about. And the main thing that I want to get across in that segment is that no response is a response. If you're getting crickets, they're telling you that they don't care about whatever it is you're posting. And I'm not saying like give up, I'm just saying post things in a different way that can really spark that attention. Um, and from there, after we're getting like a bit of attention on the posts, then we can like start trying to move them actually off of social media and onto your website. So the main thing with social media marketing, a lot of other marketers do, is they want to keep you scrolling as long as possible. They want you to binge their whole feed. What I like to do is actually get you off of social media as soon as possible. If you see my post, you like what I'm selling, you like what I'm about, you can go to my website and press pay. Um, so that is my main goal, is to like actually get people off of the apps and onto websites or into a shopping cart. Um, and doing so in a way that's just like engaging and fun and building communities rather than, you know, salesy, pushy, any of that.
Yeah. I feel that. And you're definitely like we share the same mindset where I rarely am on social media. If I see something, like I'll immediately like purchase it. Like no, like most times I am scrolling, I'm scrolling. It's, I don't know how my eyes just pick up on things, but it'll just pick up on something and like I'll know when to stop. Most times it's like I'm scrolling, I'm scrolling, I'm scrolling, I'm scrolling. It's just like, all right, hop off the app like it was nothing. But I do love how again you have your different strategy like setups. You know, you have the growth, the nurture, and then the sales if someone is definitely interested in going that route. But even you adding on, it's just not just being on social media, but how do we get them to the website, and how can we utilize the website using different tools, stuff like SEO, or just even different, you know, links, you know, traffic links that get people to, you know, your cart, the checkout, to purchase whatever the case may be. Those are important aspects too, because I know when people think social media agency, they think, oh, just social media. But I know sometimes it can be a misrepresentation. It's like, well, I mean, yeah, I'm helping you with social media, but it's not the only thing. We want to push you to another direction, and probably an even better direction to get to the website. Utilize that and make it a tandem. It doesn't have to be I'm
Mm,
just on social media, but then the website's silent. Or like, oh, I'm trying to push the website heavily, but then your social media is like ghost town. It's like you need to
yeah,
have an equal balance. There needs to be equilibrium between the two.
absolutely. You 100% got it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it's just as simple as that. No, 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 no. Like that.
No, it
That's
is.
yeah, yeah. I feel like it's super important to just realize this stuff. And like mentioned from the chat, great dialogue being shared here. Yep. I mean, again, guys, the gems they keep dropping and dropping and dropping. So we're gonna keep going down that route. Okay, so my next question, this is gonna dive a little bit into procrastination. So obviously, it's no secret we all procrastinate, and I dare anyone to come on here. If you're like, I don't procrastinate, you're a liar. You're lying to yourself. We don't like liars on the show. Everyone procrastinates. I guarantee you. It's a common thing. You know, the only the three things they say is common: debt, taxes, and procrastination. They might as well add procrastination to the third list. But we all do it. It happens to the best of us. Nothing to be ashamed of. Obviously, like we're human. Things are gonna happen. But Hannah, I want to ask you, how do you take your own personal battles with procrastination and use it as a tool to help your clients realize that you don't have to be stuck in that rut? You don't have to be
Mhm.
in this bubble procrastination. And you can overcome the hump and you can build towards whatever your goal is. How do you take your own personal battle of procrastination and use it to leverage your clients into getting out of that bubble of procrastination?
Yeah, it's a great question, and you know what? Like, I don't know if this answers what you're expecting, but I don't try to stop myself from procrastinating, and I don't encourage other people to either. If it helps you sometimes, do it. Like you said, there's no shame around it. So what I have found with my procrastinating is it can actually quite often light a fire under my butt to get me to actually do the thing that I'm doing, where it's like, oh my God, this is due tomorrow. If I don't do it right freaking now, then I'm just screwed. Like I might get fired or I might, lose this client or whatever it is. Um, However, I have also found that like this is something that has like bit me in the butt before. So it's something that I think is important to use to your advantage rather than your disadvantage. So what I do when I have a large goal is I will break it up into smaller deadlines. I take this really big project and I get little bite-sized chunks and I split it up into smaller, like over the course of a week or over the course of a couple weeks, like breaking it up into easier digestible pieces. And then I will procrastinate until the cows come home with each of those little pieces. But I find myself the day before the project is due being like, wow, this is 90% done and it's due tomorrow. I can get this done in a flash. And I normally do. Actually, I always do since doing it this way. Um, and what's inspired this within me is when I was in high school, and I think a lot of people relate to this, I would leave my essays till the night before. I would get them done until like 2 a.m. and go to school. And the teacher would always say, you better not have done this the night before. I can always tell. And then I would get like an A plus. And so this almost trained my brain to think like, yeah, I can leave things to the last minute and still succeed. But obviously, as you grow up, like that's not always the case. Sometimes things truly do take time and dedication to build them properly and to have quality work. And so I've just my whole podcast. So the reason we're talking about procrastinating in particular, my show is called Procrastination Station. That show, it's about all the different ways that we can get into our own way. Procrastinating is one of them. We also have like perfectionism, control, or overthinking, any of these things that are just like normal human qualities that are quote unquote negative that we don't like to talk about as humans, but we all also have them. I think that if you are a procrastinator, if you're a perfectionist, if you're an overthinker, you probably always will be, and that's okay. But how can we look at these human truths and not shame ourselves for them? Because I think shaming ourselves for these things makes them worse. But using them to our advantage in a way of like, you might be an overthinker, but you're also a thorough thinker. And so you can see possible downsides to things very, very quickly or very easily by thinking all the different paths that you might go down in this rabbit hole in your mind. Um, so you could be a great person to have on projects to avoid making mistakes. Or if you're a perfectionist, you have a great attention to detail. Use that. And I think that sometimes we, in the self-development space specifically, like to think like I can develop myself beyond the point of who I am fundamentally as a person. And I think that's terrible. And I think that's also impossible. And it's an impossible standard that can make you want to self develop to a point of just like losing yourself. And I think that the point of self development is not to lose yourself, it's to become more of yourself in a way that is healthy.
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, like for me, and like this is just kind of like the way I think, I feel like procrastination could either push you towards perfectionism or protect you from perfectionism. I feel like
Mhm.
for those who, if you're procrastinating, maybe you're someone who, like you mentioned, you're an overthinker or you're a perfectionist and you feel like things need to be right. It needs to go like this way. And obviously, we want to have like a strong mentality for ourselves, no matter the situation, how we approach it. But also, if you're going down that rabbit hole, sometimes you're so worried to like not make the mistake that you won't actually learn from the journey. You won't actually get to experience the failures and know how to improve. But if you're trying to protect yourself from perfectionism, then it's like procrastination kind of feels therapeutic. It's like, you know what? I'm not going to rush into it where I'm going to do this. And then next, I mess up. I completely screw up and things just fall off the rail. I'm going to take the time to plan things out. And if things happen where there's a sudden change, that's okay. Like, I'm not going to just crumble or feel upset about myself. I'm going to not take it as a loss, but take it as a lesson. So, again, that's the phrase I would kind of probably say to everyone. If you want to adapt it, I would say procrastination could either push you or protect you from perfectionism. But even everything you say to Hannah is just like, you dropped the mic on that one. I feel like we should just wrap everything up.
I love it. Thank you for that.
Course, of course. Again, for those who are just coming in, you're listening to the Safe Room here on Love Bay Radio. If you've been here from the start, I appreciate y'all for listening to this conversation here with Hannah, the founder of Cofellow and the host of Procrastination Station. And speaking of that, I do want to go into the next question for that. Just, you know, first off, the name, because I found the name was like, huh. I
That's
know
the
what I
point.
like. It's like, wait a minute. Okay, now listen. I know we're on the radio, so I mean, I don't know if you can. I don't know how graphic you can get in terms of the name itself and how it came to be, but I am a
Okay.
little bit curious. I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, it's a great question that I get a lot all the time. And if I'm 100% honest, I actually came up with the name before I came up with the topic. I came up with the name when I was like 16 years old, and I started my show when I was probably like 23, maybe 24. And like I just sat with it where I was like, that is such a good word. We're just, it's an earworm. It sticks in your head and it stays there. And the way that you were like, huh, what does that mean? That's exactly what I want. Is like, I want to tell people what it's called and them to go home and be like, huh, that's a fun word to say. It's a funny image in the mind. It's just like, it's just exactly what I want my show to be. It's just something that's a little quirky, a little bit rememberable, and just good, it's just, I love the name so much. And so I have honestly developed the concept behind the show around this name. Not to say that the concept has been an afterthought. I've always known that I wanted to start a podcast. I've always known I wanted to talk about really big things, but I just kind of like, it was like a puzzle piece that clicked together where it was like, what can I talk about endlessly? And I was like, oh yeah, just humans being humans. And what's the most human thing that we all do and we don't talk about, that is just like, just about self-love and, enjoying being a person that no other animal in the animal kingdom can do. Um yeah, it was just, it's honestly a journey of choosing pleasure before hard work. To be real, and that's where procrastinating is born from for a lot of us. I think is like, I'd rather play video games than do this project. But it's okay to have a little bit of that in your life if it also helps you cultivate your creativity. um so yeah, I hope that was a a PG explanation.
I love how you're just like, I have to be so careful with what I say. That was probably just running through your mind. Like, I have to be so careful. But honestly, I think the name it's excellent. It's an excellent brand in my opinion. Cause again, like even the way you explain it, you look at procrastination, we kind of treat it as, a self-pleasure. A lot of us may not have the time to say, you know what, I'm just not gonna do this. If you're someone who's like, you're very driven, you're like, I want to get this done, cool, but maybe sometimes you just want to say, you know what, I just need some time off. Maybe if you're working a 9 to 5 and you're working like 5 days a week, and once you like get home, it's just like, oh, I got to get ready for like the next day and everything like that. Sometimes
Mhm.
you don't have the time to just procrastinate. You just have to like, okay, I'm just stuck in the mindset. Da, 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 da. Okay, here we go. And sometimes you just want to just like, can I not come to work today? Can I just like ditch this and just not do that?
Yep.
So again, it's a self pleasure that sometimes our brains are triggered to immediately go towards. So the fact that you want to address that through your podcast, you want to, have those conversations, it's really great. And I love again the way how you describe it, because there's so much different layers to it. I know obviously there's certain people that hear it and it's like one thing comes to mind, but I think even digging deeper for myself, it's like that's actually a very unique way of like looking at things. So I like that.
I appreciate that. Thank you for getting it beyond just like the graphic side of things. Because there is a message behind that. And I think like what I really love for my show is to have people who do get that of like beyond, just the surface level of what the name means, just like understanding where that comes from, the association with creativity, the association with just like needing a break sometimes, and just wanting to put things down sometimes and just like be by yourself. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, it gets a nice little chuckle. Like the first time I saw it, I was just
Yeah,
like, I kind of laughed, like, oh, okay. But then you think about it, it's like, oh, that's actually genius. That's actually genius. So, I mean, yeah,
thank you.
I love the name. And also, for people who don't know, I was actually a guest on your podcast as well. It was a while back, I believe. It was like,
Yeah,
I don't know what year was that. Was that 2022 or 2023? I don't know.
I think 2023, if I'm not mistaken. We talked about imposter syndrome, so definitely scroll back a little bit, go and find that episode. It was really lovely.
Definitely go take a listen to that. So, another follow-up question I do want to ask you: was there any aspects of the podcast did it tie into a little bit of the work of Cofellow, or have you tried maybe of thinking of taking some of your conversations, like, you know what, I could really take some of my expertise, probably put it on the podcast, make it a little bit of a interconnected type of thing? Have you ever thought about stuff like that, or have you done it before?
So I have a little bit of like specifically talking about my own business on my show, but generally speaking, like it's something that I want to connect more because there is a lot of overlap when I'm speaking to my own clients, when we're doing mentorship type work together. A lot of the time we talk about things like self-sabotage. We talk about things like procrastination, perfectionism, overthinking, like it's very prevalent. We are human beings, all of us are, especially and including entrepreneurs. And um I think like social media can be very daunting. It can be very challenging. It's a huge beast related to a lot of businesses, especially when you're doing it yourself. Um, to make like at least 16 pieces of content every single month, like that takes a lot of willpower, a lot of dedication. And so that also is enveloped with a self-development journey to maintain that type of a schedule for your brand. So I think that there is a lot of connection. Actually, I know there's a lot of connection because I talk about it with my clients. However, with my show, I've been challenged a little bit on how can I articulate that in a way that makes sense. For the same reasons why I work with the weirdos, because sometimes you're so passionate, you're up in your head, it can be challenging to bring things down to earth in a way that makes sense to the average person. And I want my show to make sense in a way that doesn't take an hour-long explanation to say why I talk about social media and mental health.
Yeah, I definitely see that. And again, I love how you are still trying to make things a little bit more relatable. So it's not just that you work with like people who have more of a weird side of their brain and just like embrace it 100% 24/7. That's all we're going to be talking about. It's like, no, it's like we want this to still be relatable. It's again, how can we still highlight a little bit more on that weird side? And again, how you want to get across of a maybe an episode or even a series. I think I even pitched an idea of like you should do like a little video series of just like maybe breaking down some of your like services, even your
Mhm,
strategies. Maybe one episode particularly is for like growth strategy,
mhm.
nurture, sales. That could be an idea. And you can use that to promote in some aspects. So I mean, again, like I definitely see like there's ideas of how you can take this, but I like how you are being very particular and just thinking this through. You're not trying to like rush into it, just like how we've been talking about all conversation, not trying to like focus. So let's just consider it procrastinating, but not really procrastinating. It's like you're thinking in throughout the way.
Yes, strategizing and like I'm always thinking about it in my brain, and one day I need to pull the trigger on that. And I appreciate your ideas because you're 100% right. And I think it's definitely something that I can do. Like I shouldn't take that much thought. It's just about how do I articulate that in a at least half an hour episode. But yeah, I to keep an eye out. Just watch out on the show because it'll be coming out very soon. I hope. And if not soon, eventually it'll happen. But I appreciate that.
100%, 100%. Okay, so I want to get into this next part of the show. We want to do a role play session. So let's just pretend you're not talking to Sean. This is somebody different. You know what? I'll even ask you, like, you can give me a name, any name that comes off the top of your head. That will be me for this role play exercise.
Let's go with Harold.
Harold. Okay, I like it. It's a very, very classy name in a way, but it's like very
Yeah,
unorthodox.
yeah, it goes with
Oh,
the president title.
I love it. All right. So okay, I'm Harold today. And let's just say I'm a client coming up to you and I saw your page and I just want to know a little bit more about Cofellow, how you can help me as a fellow creator, as a fellow weirdo myself, in
Mhm.
terms of just how I can get my numbers up and stuff like that. So let's just pretend like we're locking in. This is like Shakespeare, like drama class all over again. And we're just gonna try this out if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
Okay,
So
cool, cool.
my first question would be, what flavor of weirdo are you? What does that mean to you?
Okay, all right. We're starting off strong. Okay, so well, Hannah, I appreciate you asking me that question. I would probably say I'm not on the far extreme where it's like out of like line, but I'm definitely the type of weirdo that's like I'm willing to do bold and innovative ideas, even though most of my audience will look at me and say that, okay, you're crazy for doing that. But once I actually go through with it, they actually react very well to it. So I think it's more of just like they don't see the thought process of mine when I come up with these ideas. But once it plays out, it does get a positive reaction, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so normal to have people who do not see the vision. I think that it's really important to have a community for your business who sees the vision of long term of what it is you want to do with your business. Now, what type of business are you doing in this scenario? And where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah, so the stuff that I do, I like to create a lot of short form content. Sometimes I'll be sharing my little tidbits on marketing myself,
Mhm.
but I try to have very unique ways of how I would share my ideas. So, for example, I've been trying to do like different sit downs, but instead of like me sitting in front of a camera, I might be like sitting on the floor, like flat, like looking at a camera straight up or something like that. Like just different styles to kind of get people's attention immediately, so that way they're not seeing the same type of sitting in a chair telling you a tip and then whatever you've seen like 1,000 of those. But then if you're scrolling through, you see Harold like on a couch like sipping a margarita in low light, and it's just like hold on, what's going on here? That's the type of stuff that I do. So I'm hoping to, get my just grow. Like I've been growing well, but I now want to like get into the sales aspect. And
Yeah.
somebody told me that you can help me with that process. But that's what I want to reach out to you for. If you have possibly a sales strategy that could help me, because I have a really good audience. A lot of people react to my stuff. I've been
Mhm.
growing for the last couple of years. So now it's just getting the sales part of it
Yeah.
right.
So, I would love to discuss more about how to get more sales through your brand. However, I would like to start by asking, what type of a message are we trying to get across here? So, from what I'm understanding from what you've shared so far, is you want your community to feel emboldened to go after the big idea. You want people to feel like they can just have the type of life where they can sit back and drink a margarita on a Tuesday afternoon and just feel like that big man on the block, the person who's just made it and who built themselves to this place of making it from a place of not having as much as other successful people, where it wasn't handed to them, their dad wasn't a billionaire. Is Am I understanding this story correctly?
Yeah, something similar to that. I think with the way I present my content, it's sort of like a marketing strategy. I want people to see, like, oh, you can do the exact same thing. So if you
Mhm.
want to like get a message across in a very unorthodox style, so let's say like you're sitting, like you're lying at your bed, just like upside down, like you can do something like that. That type of sporadic type of approach it to just your video content specifically, because again, that's usually what I specialize. A lot of my content is on Instagram, TikTok. I usually do a lot of like short form. It's not that much of long form content. So I'm hoping when people see my stuff, it's not only the things I'm saying, but it's how it's being shown to them. That's like, oh, you know what, like I might try something like that. It's sort of like inspiration type of content. Like you see it and like,
Mhm.
it gets you to say like, okay, maybe I'll do something like that, or maybe I'll try something different. But it's because I saw that clip from Harold. He's doing something different. I think I could do something different. So that's what I'm trying to do with the stuff that I'm doing.
I love that. I think that's a really powerful message. Now, in terms of the sales aspect, which is why we're here in this conversation today, what do you think the call to action from this would be? So, where are we sending people and what is it that they're buying from you?
Yeah, so I've came up with this ebook, and basically it's like 1,000 tips that you should do when it comes to like promoting your business from a video content perspective. The problem is that I don't have a website, and honestly, I'm
Fair.
trying to build one. And number two, I don't know much about just promoting or advertising stuff, anything on a website.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've bought multiple things on different websites, but doing it my own, it's kind of a scary thing, and I'm trying to like overcome that hurdle. So I'm hoping to probably get people to come to this website to
Mhm.
purchase this ebook, so that way they can utilize it. Because I know I've filmed over 1,000 videos, so sometimes people may not have the chance to scroll through my feed and watch everything. So having an ebook that gives them all the tips I've shared over the last couple years would be really great for them, and they can go to the website to purchase it.
Beauty. So, building a website is hard and it can take a lot of time. In the meantime, do you have anywhere that somebody can click a link to go and buy the book? So that could be an Amazon link, Wattpad, whatever it is.
Yeah, I do have a Amazon link set up.
Cool.
I wanted to at least put something up there so people can go and purchase it for now, but until the website is up.
Beautiful. That'll work in the meantime. My first idea, and I would love your thoughts, would be what if we had a social media strategy where we can actually post some of those tips from your book, where it highlights just like chapter by chapter, a few tips. If people want to follow you long term, they can eventually get to a point where they have all of those tips through your entire social media feed. But I can also guarantee you, people don't have that kind of attention span. So they will follow you to say, I want to learn more tips from this guy. He clearly knows what he's talking about. And eventually they'll get to a point where they're like, I don't want to continue reading the social media posts. I'll just buy the freaking book. So posting some bite-sized chunks from the book on social media while also highlighting the lifestyle that reading the book and participating in the book will help them achieve. So that those like bold ideas and the bold lifestyle that we were talking about, highlighting that still while also highlighting the book in little bite-sized chunks, like I mentioned. And each time we do post one of those chunks from the book, we can also leave the call to action. Click the Amazon link in my bio to get the whole thing delivered to your door, or well, it's an ebook, so delivered to your email or whatever it is.
Okay.
How does that sound?
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. I think I would like to do that. I just have a question, and maybe you can give a suggestion. So,
Mhm.
most of my pages, I've been like very consistent in terms of like how I post. So, if you see like there's a specific format, I'm just wondering, do you think that if we were to go with this idea of like, let's say I post like maybe a couple of tips from this ebook, should I possibly use the same platforms as I'm using right now, or should I maybe create like I don't know, let's say like a new page on like Instagram or TikTok. So maybe if people are coming to like my pages already, they're not getting confused. That way, like the content doesn't get mixed up. I don't know. I mean, that's a thought. I don't know if you have any suggestions around that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer to that question. I think that, first of all, your audience, if they are used to seeing things in a certain way, you might benefit from just starting specifically related to this book, like a separate Instagram that's related to the book and the lifestyle, and just starting from scratch. However, you did mention that you already have an engaged audience. And I don't know about you, but I know how much effort goes into building an engaged audience, and I do not want to do that from scratch every time I have a new project idea. And so, in my personal opinion, what I would do is build my brand identity in a way where my audience is following me not specifically for my projects, but for me and the type of projects that I produce, if that makes sense. They're not following you because you have a podcast or because you have a book or as individual things. They're following you, Harold, because they know whatever it is that you're putting out there is going to be gold. So I think that it's also an option where we could test it a little bit. We can post some things onto your existing feed. And if people are like, yo, what the heck is this? I'm confused. Then we just stop posting there. It's not the end of the world. Um, and then we can just like start posting that type of content on a separate page if it doesn't work. Or if it does, then people get used to the idea that when they follow your page, they never know what they're going to get, but they know it'll be good.
Okay. I think I like this. All right. I want to move forward with this. I would love
Cha-ching.
to work with you. So I mean, yeah, thank you so much, Hannah. I appreciate you, man. Is there any other details I need to look forward to?
Other than making sure you keep an open mind for things to just evolve as they need to. I
Okay.
think I think that's where I can leave that, and I appreciate your inquiry.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Hannah. We'll definitely be in touch, and I cannot wait to implement this social media strategy.
Yeah, right on. Thank you for reaching out.
All right.
And
Yeah.
see.
Yes. See. And by the way, I saw the comment by Chanel saying from Idris to Everton, Jerk to Harold. Those are basically all the different characters I played over the last couple of weeks based on like different names. So I love how she's keeping like score. She's keeping track of like the names I've been given. Yeah, I think a couple weeks back, I had a guest who was literally named me Idris Elba, which was crazy.
I love that. And we love a loyal fan as well.
Yeah. Shout out to Chanel. Shout out to Chanel. Definitely is like the number one fan for to say from always here. Appreciate the love and support. But yeah, that role play session that was good. And I hope for people who are looking to approach Hannah, ask for her assistance. This is exactly the type of energy you're gonna get very loving, very like knowledgeable about what she does, and is wanting to help you. So definitely reach out to Hannah if you're looking to upgrade. If you're a fellow weirdo, listen, we love the weirdos over here. So embrace it and go link with Hannah ASAP.
Please do. I would love to hear from you.
Definitely, definitely. But before we wrap things up, we got one more thing. I got one more little surprise. It's nothing too crazy. So we have a closing activity. I know everyone's wondering, all right, Sean, what's it gonna be this week? This time I came prepared. So shut your mouth. Don't say nothing. All right, I came prepared. This time we're gonna do a little game of King of the Hill. So I don't know if you've heard of this game, Hannah. Sometimes you'll see it like on TikTok, YouTube, depending. But I'll explain what this goes, okay? So basically, usually it's like one-on-one matchups, and there's usually a list of like options that you'll have. But basically, let's say you have a one-on-one. Let's say maybe it's Drake versus Kendrick. I don't know why I said those two names. We're just gonna go with it. Drake versus Kendrick. Or you pick one. Let's say you pick Drake. So then, okay, Drake's moving on to the next round. And next thing you know, J. Cole steps up. Drake versus J. Cole. Maybe I pick J. Cole. Okay, J. Cole versus Eminem. And it goes on and on. So basically, you have all these one-on-one matchups. And now you have to figure out at the end of it, who's the king of the hill. Now, obviously, I'm going to be listing out all of it. And we're not going to be doing music this time around. We're actually going to switch it up. We're going to be doing desserts. So
Okay.
we're mixing it up a little bit. We're experimenting over here, ladies and gentlemen. So
Speaking my language.
all right, all right. So we're gonna start off with two desserts, and again, just like I mentioned, you pick one. We're gonna keep going and going until the very end. We're gonna figure out which one of the desserts is king of the hill.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. You ready?
Ready.
Okay, perfect. So the first matchup we have here, ice cream sundae versus tiramisu.
Oh my gosh, she started with such a hard one. I'm gonna go tiramisu.
Okay, okay. Have you ever tried it before?
Yeah, it's like top tier dessert.
Top tier? Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right. So tiramisu, moving on. Now we have peach pie steps into the conversation. Tiramisu or peach pie?
We're gonna stick with tiramisu.
Okay. Sticking with tiramisu. Okay. Now peach cobbler comes in. Tiramisu or peach cobbler?
I'm gonna stick with tiramisu.
Okay. Okay. Tiramisu's making a little bit of a run now. All right. Tiramisu or double chocolate cake?
Oh, double chocolate cake.
Okay.
Tiramisu, you're too expensive.
You had your run. Tiramisu had your run. Double chocolate cake now takes the king of the hill placement. Okay, we're gonna go cake for cake. Double chocolate cake or birthday cake?
Double chocolate.
Okay, all right. Not a fan of birthday cake?
No, I need chocolate. Chocolate directly into my veins.
Yeah, I see Chanel's upset. She's like, you go kick out tiramisu so early? Hey, listen.
I'm
It's the fun of the
sorry.
game. It is what it is.
I'll
Okay.
take all of the desserts. I don't discriminate against dessert, just for the purpose of the game.
I feel you. I feel you. Okay, next up we have double chocolate cake or banana pudding.
Oh my gosh. But anything banana, I'm actually a freak for. My name is Hannah. Hannah Banana has been my nickname for my whole life. But I'm gonna have to stick with chocolate cake.
Oh, okay. I thought for a second banana pudding was gonna
It's close.
make a push. Okay, all right. So double chocolate cake or macaroons?
Double chocolate cake. I don't care
Yeah.
about macaroons. Too French.
Honest,
I'm just kidding.
yeah. It's like, yeah, we're not doing French side. No, 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 no. I understand. Okay, double chocolate cake or blueberry muffins?
Easy. Chocolate cake.
Okay, chocolate cake's making it's making a run, a mean run right now. Okay, okay. All right, let's see. Double chocolate cake. Now, key lime pie comes to the plate.
I'm sticking with chocolate cake.
Okay, okay. Honestly, that one's kind of like a throwaway, in my opinion. No disrespect to the key pie lime lovers. I'm sorry, but a little bit of a throwaway. Okay.
Well, what are you doing? but a little bit of disrespect.
All right. Double chocolate cake or cannoli?
Double chocolate cake.
Damn. Yo, is Loki double chocolate cake gonna win, ladies and gentlemen? We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
All right, we're gonna go cake for cake again. Double chocolate cake or carrot cake?
Oh, I love carrot cake. But I'm gonna say chocolate cake because carrot cake sometimes has raisins, and raisins should be illegal.
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I actually like raisins. I'm actually a fan of raisins. I'm not gonna lie.
Jail.
I know for some people, you think that's bad. I don't think a lot. I think a lot of people would sue me if I told them that my favorite cereal is actually Raisin Bran.
Jail.
It's like
Life
double
sentence.
jail. It's like, off to the gallows. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, see, even Chanel, she feels the same sentiment. She loves raisins. I don't know. Maybe it's the twin telepathy thing. It's just like, listen, we're on the same wavelength.
Wait, are you for real twins?
Yes, we are actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
twins
love
to jail.
that.
Yep. It's a ride or die thing. Yep.
Love that. Oh my gosh, that's so
Mhm.
special that you're twins, and also that you both love raisins. Like, you are your own flavors of weird. I love that.
Of course, of course. Okay, we only got a couple more left, and double chocolate cake is it's kind of wiping the competition right now. All right, let's
I
see.
know.
Okay, we got double chocolate cake. I'm gonna bring in a little bit of Canadian in here. Double chocolate cake or beaver tails?
Oh, beaver tails are so great because there's so many different options of like types of beaver tails. I even had a savory beaver tail with like poutine on it. Uh,
Really?
yeah. I'm gonna
Okay.
honestly, I'll say beaver tails. Represent Canada.
Okay.
Sorry,
Double
chocolate cake.
chocolate cake.
Bye.
Had an
I'm
impressive
tired of
run. I
you.
won't lie. Had an impressive run. So Beaver Tails is now at the lead. So we have Beaver Tails, and we're going a little international with this next one. We have Beaver Tails versus Baklava.
My one of my best friends is Greek, and she would kill me. I'm gonna stick with beaver tails.
Hey, listen, if you're watching, listen, Hannah is she's just playing the game. Don't come after her, okay? Don't come after her. Okay. Beaver Tails or cheesecake?
Oh, okay, cheesecake. I was waiting for that one. Cheesecake is actually my favorite dessert. Cherry specifically.
Okay. You know what? Because we're having fun, I ain't gonna say the statement that I'm going to say. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna hold it for myself. We're just gonna move on. We're gonna move
Wait,
on.
do you not like cherry cheesecake? Am I going
I,
to jail in your books?
I just think that cheesecake is highly overrated. I don't get it.
No,
I just don't
no.
get. I
I hear your opinion. It's wrong.
I don't know. Listen, sue me. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but it is what it is. Okay.
Lawsuits in the middle.
Cheesecake. Okay, we got a couple more. Cheesecake or blueberry crumble pie?
I don't even know if I've had that one, so I'm gonna stick with cheesecake. Sorry, blueberry.
Okay. Okay. Cheesecake. All right. This one's a different one. Cheesecake or cookie dough?
Oh, cookie dough is like such a comfort food, especially since they came out with those like Pillsbury like eat it or bake it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so you literally like I have sat there and ate cookie dough with a spoon, like the whole tub of it. Like, it's crazy. I'm still gonna stick cheesecake though. Sorry about it.
Okay. Okay. We got the last three. These last three are low key like heavy hitters, so I had to save
Yeah.
it for last. But I don't know. Maybe Hannah's like, we'll see. We'll see if it's gonna trump the cheesecake. Okay, cheesecake or white chocolate brownies?
Easy cheesecake. White chocolate's gross.
Oh my heart! No, Hannah.
White chocolate
Listen,
isn't even chocolate. There's no cocoa in white chocolate.
I mean, yeah, but like, listen, for all the Canadians, Moxies, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. They know exactly what I'm talking about. Nah, Loki, that would have been my number one, but I digress. I'm not playing the game. Hannah's playing the game, so I'm gonna take my bias out the window. Okay, two more. Cheesecake. Let's see if it can make the final push. Cheesecake or creme brulee?
Mm. They're honestly like in a similar category in a way. I'm gonna stick with cheesecake because you get fruit.
Okay. That's true. That is true. You have a little like that healthy option with the fruit.
Healthy.
Yeah, healthy, just like quotation. All right, healthy. All right. Last one. Last one. Let's see if cheesecake is going to be at the top, the king of the hill. Cheesecake or peanut butter cookies?
My mom makes such good peanut butter cookies.
You want to upset your mom right now? I dare you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stick with cheesecake. Sorry.
Okay.
It's my
It's
king of the
like
hill.
it's like, Mom, I'm sorry. Go in my gut. Okay. Cheesecake, king of the hill, desserts. Okay. All right.
And for
That's
your
fair.
sister, tiramisu is a close number 2. Very close
Yeah.
number 2. It was too early in the run.
Yeah. So at least I kind of got her there. I kind of messed it up with the tiramisu, but she still got what she want with the cheesecake.
Oh, so good. I'm dreaming about it now. And I don't care if I'm alone, I will die on this hill that cheesecake is the best dessert.
Guys, put it in the comments. What do you think? What's your favorite dessert? Definitely share the love. But that's all I got for today, Hannah. Thank you so much for coming on. I know Chanel's like she's gonna be crying to sleep after what happened,
It's like,
but
who's this weirdo you had on your freaking show? Like, kick her off.
yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good. This is how she is every single week. It's all just jokes and love. It's a vibe. So I mean, it is
I
what it
feel
is.
that.
But yeah,
I
Hannah,
feel
again, thank you for coming on. You were fantastic. Thank you for sharing about Cofellow, your podcast. Again, it's been long overdue, but I'm happy we
that.
had this conversation. Definitely let the people know where they connect with you, where they can get to know more. If they want to reach out,
Yeah.
schedule a call with you.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. This was a blast. I really loved the ebb and flow of our conversation and like starting off with just like, let's get to the point. Who are you? What are you about? Getting it deep into what I do business wise and also my passions with my own show. I really appreciate having a platform to talk about those things, and then also ending on a fun note. This was just very well put together as a host, and I appreciate the space that you created for people, for listeners as well as for guests. This is a really nice experience, so thank you. um, in terms of where you can find me, I would love if you could reach out on Instagram is where I'm most active. So that's Cofellow, Coffellow. And if you want to check out my show, including my episode with Sean about imposter syndrome, that's Procrastination Station. So I don't even know if I can spell that off the top of my head. Procrastation. I'm coming for a spelling bee next. And then Station. It's available on YouTube and also Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Check her out. And if you ever have any questions, comments, concerns, things you agree with, disagree with, I want to know. So please reach out. And that goes for this episode as well. If you wanted to talk about it more, just DM me. That's the best way. For business inquiries, I do have a business email. That's yourcofellow@gmail.com. But quickest way to reach me is always going to be Instagram. So that's where you can find me. Thanks again. That's everything.
Perfect. Again, thank you to everyone listening to the Safe Room here on Love Bay Radio. If you want to find us on Instagram, you can find me at the Safe Room Official or my personal page, the President of TO Toronto. Just if you want to know what the TO stands for, you can find the Safe Room on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube as well. Like I mentioned before, I will be hosting the Voice of Millennials event on July 12th. So again, remember the date. Hannah, I need to see you there. If you have availability, you need to pull up because it's gonna be a grand time. So I'm hoping
Sounds
again,
like
no
it.
pressure. No
It sounds
pressure.
like
Just
a nice birthday present to me. It's 3 days after my birthday, so I'll
okay.
have to be there. It's just them's the rules.
All right, sounds great. All right, but until then, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you tune back in next week to your favorite show here on Love Bay Radio. Until then, we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.